I'm Elisa Parker. It is the 23rd annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival, and we've been broadcasting all weekend. We are here through Monday, where we have locals night. So if you're thinking, I really want to go experience the films and the people, the community who participates in this, it's not too late to come on down and enjoy this. And we also have a tour as well. So we go all over the country with a lot of these films. It's good to have you here with us. I'm so excited to introduce our next guest. He has been here before. It is Jaxon, and this year the film is Against the Herd. Hi, Jaxon.
Hi, how you doing?
It's pretty good. I'm good. I'm doing good for a Sunday, and it's Wild and Scenic.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite part of this festival?
It's always really awesome being part of this community and seeing how vibrant this town is and how much they value film here. And it's amazing to see how well attended all the screenings are, and people really make you feel at home when you're here.
That is pretty amazing, isn't it? Like these films that, they're not mainstream media, and yet when you go in, it's packed. You even can reserve a seat ahead of time now.
Absolutely.
Where did you arrive from?
I actually live in central Portugal now, so it was quite a trip.
When did you move to Portugal?
Last year. I moved there for love, which was been a nice surprise.
You moved there for love?
For love.
Wow. Yeah. What has it been like living in Portugal?
It's interesting. It faces a lot of the same challenges that California does. We have a really bad wildfire problem, really bad flooding problems in the winter. So it shares a lot of the same themes that living in this state does, which has been quite interesting.
Okay.
So fire film in the works in Portugal, I think, in the future.
We are globally connected, and we're all experiencing similar things.
Absolutely.
We're especially regarding the climate.
Yeah.
So this year, your film Against the Herd is exploring. It's a family who has their cattle, and they're looking at sustainable ways.
Yeah, so it's about the Smith family, which runs 30,000 acres of federal lands in northern Nevada, and they've been on the land for almost 100 years. And in the 90s, they were really coming to terms with whether cattle were just always damaging for landscapes. Their land was in a really bad state, and they came across a method of using cattle to mimic how bison grazed American grasslands for millions of years. And so in the last 25 years, everything has come back to life. Absolutely flourished. They stopped fighting the beavers on their land. Now they have huge wetlands even in drought years. And unfortunately, for the last decade, an environmental group has tried nonstop to put them out of business and get them off their land, because they refuse to believe that cattle can have a positive role to play on our grasslands in the States.
Wow. When you were just sharing that, it gives me goosebumps, really, to think how they have reimagined and recreated a sustainable way to continue having their herds. And what does that look like? How do you train or work with cattle to behave like bison?
Absolutely. So you're grazing your animals at a really high density for short periods of time, because bison used to move in massive numbers really quickly across landscapes. And so if you divide your massive pastures up into much smaller sections and rotate your animals through those sections, you can graze an area for a month and then not touch it again for 2 years, instead of the traditional way of grazing where you kind of just have them continuously there for long periods.
Right.
And so that short disturbance with a long rest period actually allows for a lot more biodiversity to flourish. It allows for root growth to really develop, which captures a lot more carbon in the soil. And these landscapes evolved with massive grazers, and cattle can be a really, really powerful tool when used correctly to mimic the effects of those grazers that these landscapes need.
That's fascinating. And is there a ratio, like cow per acre, that makes sense for this?
Honestly, in a lot of ways, it's as high a density as possible.
Okay.
You can't really go too dense as long as you keep the duration that they're grazing for short.
What does that mean, like a short duration?
It depends on how high the grass is, but we're talking like a few weeks in each pasture as opposed to a few months in each pasture.
Okay.
And it's also, the key is the long periods of rest after the short grazing.
So then
period.
you would just have to have mobile fencing or something that can move around?
Exactly. So on Cottonwood Ranch, they're actually part of an experiment, and have been for the last few years, to use virtual collars to use electric their collars have a little buzz like a lot of people have on their dogs.
Yeah.
And you can create virtual fences so that you can, without having to go out and put up new electric fencing all the time, you can change the areas that your cattle are in almost daily if you need to.
That's fascinating.
Absolutely.
How cool.
Yeah.
How did you connect with them?
I saw a New York Times article a few years ago about how people's attitude towards beaver had been changing in the western part of the states. And I reached out to A.G. Smith, and after a few weeks, he kind of let slip that despite all the great work that they were doing with the beaver, it was an ongoing question, and still is, whether they're even going to be able to hold on to the land. And so we made this film partly to show people that, ranchers in this country, there's 30,000 ranching permits in the West, and these people deserve to be trusted to be the caretakers of these lands, and need to be empowered to make the right decisions good managers need to be promoted and encouraged to do good work to restore our landscapes.
Has this environmental action group, have they seen the movie yet?
They refused to talk to me for the film. They have gone to the ranch, looked at all the great work that he's done, and said straight to the family's face, we want you out of business anyway.
Wow. Do you want to tell us the names of them?
Yeah,
Can we contact them?
The name of the environmental organization is Western Watersheds. They unfortunately are part of a trend in the States of very anti-scientific environmentalism, which kind of gives the rest of the movement a bad name. They've already put ranches out of business in Washington and Oregon. They are just kind of on a rampage against cattle, and we're trying to use this film to show people that cattle, like any tool, can be used incorrectly, but also have an incredible power to be used correctly and used to restore a lot of our American grasslands.
Okay, so that's one step we can take then, is getting in
Absolutely.
touch with them.
Yeah.
What's another key takeaway?
A key takeaway is just, even if you don't eat meat, right? A lot of American grasslands, this country has evolved to have large grazers on these ecosystems.
And we consume so much beef.
Yeah, and so we consume
dairy.
so much beef as a country, right? And so if we can get that beef from sources that are also using their animals to restore landscapes, what better way to, it's a no-brainer. If you can, eat the beef that you want to eat and have it come from a place that's using it to restore landscapes and capture carbon and promote biodiversity, it's a win-win.
Wow. Jaxon, thank you so much for sharing this story. These are the kind of stories with Wild and Scenic where it's like those aha moments, the ones that, because it can have so much influence and impact
Absolutely.
on our future sustainability as humans and for cattle. So thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been another
keep
great
us
year here.
posted. It's another great year. All right, Jaxon, the film is called Against the Herd. Did it screen yet?
Yes, it screened yesterday at 1:30.
Okay.
But if you go to jaxonderow.com, you can watch the film online and
Right.
get in touch.
Thanks. Thanks so much to Jaxon. I'm Elisa Parker. It is the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. It's great to be here with you, and we'll be right back.